We have reached Module 5. I'm calling it Saving the Best for Last, the sweet spot. And it's also the place where you're going to hear in Module 5 the third most critical, in my humble opinion, habit that we can bring into our lives. We've mentioned getting out of bed in the morning, the way we get out of bed in the morning. We've mentioned when we have a big moment that we're going to go into the yellow zone. And before long, you'll hear the third really critical habit to start incorporating in your lives. So this quote that I'm about to say, C.S. Lewis said, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." This quote is a perfect segue into, as I just mentioned, the third KISS habit that will be transformative. And it's taken from the work of Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And it was Dan Sullivan actually started the habit that I'm about to share with you and why it's so vital. There's a point in the book, page 117 to be specific, when Ben asks Dan what the most important practice one person could employ, or we as people could employ, to garner the most gains. Dan answered pretty quickly, pretty immediately, that by far it was the specific hour, one specific hour, the sweet spot of your day. I thought before I read it, or before I heard it, I thought, oh, he's going to say the first hour of the day. No, that specific hour that has the biggest impact on both your short-term and your long-term success is the last hour of your day. The highest leveraged hour of your day, to repeat, is the last hour, says Dan, after observing and working with thousands of highly successful people. What you do during this 1 hour has effects that far outweigh what you do with the other hours of your day. It determines how productive and purposeful you are, as well as influencing how your brain functions. If you use this 1 hour powerfully, the next 24 will be successful. As we know, for most people, including myself from time to time, and a whole lot more before I read this, for most people, the last hour of the day is a gap hour. That's into you're feeding the red wolf, so to speak. You're feeding the enemy, a negativity enemy. So for most people, it's the gap hour, distracted by media, binge eating, or engaging in ant thinking. And we reviewed that Dr. Daniel Amen had said, we talked about ant thinking, automatic negative thoughts. And that's what we often do at the end of the day. So I'm going to take the liberty of reading segments from pages 117 to 126 of The Gap and the Gain to reinforce how powerful this time is. As a teacher, I often used to do what and have done during the course is synthesize, bring in different resources to message important concepts in different ways. And I can't think of a better way to honor these two authors, especially Dan Sullivan, and Dr. Benjamin Hardy would agree with me, because it also honors, as we're going to find out, the work of B.J. Fogg and others who have spoken about just important things. So I'm bringing different authors into my teachings here. So here we go. And I apologize. So the place I wanted to start here was top performing athletes like Michael Phelps, Kayla Harrison, create visualization, and we have used that in our course. We want to visualize. In our case, we want to visualize what's happening in our brain so that we can remind ourselves that we can regulate it. So just showing, too, how powerful visualization is amongst many people. and why it might be important for you to do. So, sorry, let me digress. To create visualizations of success before they go to sleep. What you do during the last hour for bed sets the tone for the rest of your life. This is where the deepest habits are formed. How you end your day How you end your day doesn't only determine how well you sleep. It dictates when you'll wake up. And there are times that I've omitted or gone past certain segments and just chosen. I'm just going to let you know that I've done that. When you end your day poorly and without a committed plan, you compromise the next 24 hours. Without a clear and committed plan, you become reactive. And that's that reactive side. You become very reactive to what's going on around you, and to be reactive could be distracted and reactive to your own lack of energy. Reactivity breeds more reactivity. Staring at your phone right before bed is one of the worst things you can do if you want to live an effective, present, being right here in the moment, present and happy life. It has a negative impact on your identity and your mindset. Your identity is how you see yourself, and it drives your behavior. All behavior seeks more of itself. If you spend the afternoon, for example, at a homeless shelter passing out food, you're more likely to continue with that behavior. In a podcast interview with Tim Ferriss, Josh Waitzkin explains the importance of having a proactive day architecture versus a reactive day architecture. What he means by this is your day can be designed, we've talked about design, your day can be designed proactively, meaning by you, rather than designed reactively, where you're bounced around by distractions. Your brain is incredibly powerful. Just after you wake up, it's the most powerful. But if you're not utilizing your sweet spot the night before, then you won't tap into that power. By going to bed reactively, distracted, binge eating, different things, you'll wake up reactive as well. How do you spend your sweet spot hour? What you're about to learn is the simplest and most powerful ever evening routine. If you apply this, your days will be far better spent. You'll sleep better. Your results will speak for themselves. Your life will change. And sure enough, then I'm going to show you what I do. And I'm using what I've been taught by Daniel Sullivan's work. And that is, and I'm going to repeat some of it in the next segment, but just to show you that I do walk in your shoes. I believe in doing what I teach, being a model for what I expected myself. I expect myself first before I expect others to do something. So is just showing you, I list all my gains for the day. Now, Dan Sullivan says you only have to list 3, which is fine, but I tend to go back and list as many as I can think of just because it's fun to do. Some nights you'll see I've listed more than others, but I'm always listing the gains. And a gain can be something that you've learned that day. So I'm going back, and this allows me to measure me against myself. And I have to tell you, I have slept better. I've been doing this since, I'm going to look at the date so I can share with you. Been doing this since December 12th, 2021. And it has made a transformative effect in my life. Then the second part of this is you come up with 3 gains you expect of yourself for the next day. And they don't need to be the like most critical or whatever things. They just need to be 3 things you're going to do the next day. So already you are landing and priming your pump for success for the next day. Now here you do only list 3, because as the authors will say, if there's more than 3, then it just becomes a long to-do list and you just don't do it. It just becomes overwhelming, like BJ says. It's overwhelming, then we don't do it at all. So 3. And the reason that I just saying this, the reason there can be more than 3 gains during the day, because this is really a place where you can express gratitude, and gratitude shows up as a wonderful way to quiet our brain, bring positivity to our lives. It releases endorphins, oxytocin, and dopamine. It just is a calming sense, a calming way to think back on our day. And if you keep having gains, think if I've written even an average of 5 gains a day since the 21st, or since December 1st. So I've had, I don't know. I'm really bad at mental math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, so 7, 28 times 5. I have my little calculator right here. 28. I shouldn't be doing this one, but I am. Okay, 28-ish times 5. So I've had over 140, even more gains that I can say, wow. And truly, from a person who's always, nearly all her life, questioned herself, compared myself to other people, even with all I knew, I feel different since I've been doing this. Just saying. Thanks for listening.